Hello, and welcome to Special Report on Agriculture Research Council of Nigerian Television. My name is Joshua Ishaya. The Economic and Community of West African State ECOWAS, West African and West and Central African Council for Agriculture Research and Development (CORAF WICAD), in collaboration with Agriculture Research Council of Nigeria, conduct a training for youth on agro-silvopastoral and halieutic value chain on the model of aquaculture. The workshop and training constituted young people aimed at creating employment to Africans in the agro-silvopastoral and halieutic chain on the model of aquaculture, which is the fastest growing sector in Africa today. The training held at the Agriculture Research Council of Nigeria headquarters with 100 participants drawn across Nigeria and representatives from West African countries like Ghana, Niger, Benin Republic, to mention a few. The training started with the keynote addresses from the Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Mohamed Mahmoud Abakar, represented by Engineer Frank from the Ministry of Agriculture, and Professor Hamid Shaributu was also represented by the Director of Livestock, Arcn, Dr. Kida Danjuma.
It is my pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this very important regional training of youth on agriculture, jointly organized by West and Central African Council for Agricultural Research and Development and Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. Aquaculture globally, according to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, has been the fastest growing food production sector, outpacing those of other segments of the food industry, contributing more than half of the fish we consume. The sector also employs millions of people around the world, produces sizable investment and reinvestment capital, generate billions of dollars in trade, and also brings important revenue to some national economies in various forms. Aquaculture is an important strategy in the global fight against hunger, malnutrition, and poverty, particularly in developing countries including Nigeria. Fish remain the best source of animal protein for people above 50 years of age. It is recommended to minimize heart-related cardiovascular diseases. Fish farming is no longer dependent on availability of suitable site, but on technology. The training of youth on agro-pastoral and halieutic value chains on model of aquatic is a welcome development. The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria has perfected research on it and is ready for extension training for the benefit of youth for sustainable fish production. The new technology in the farming will help in reducing the rate of youth unemployment. Unemployment is the most critical challenge. Technical, managerial, value chain development, poor governance of the subsector, and climate change, among others. In response to these challenges, Nigeria is now focusing on sustainable aquaculture system as a priority through the creation of enabling policies, promotions of demand-driven research, and encouragement of private sector-driven aquaculture development. As we look forward to increased fish production in West Africa sub-region, it is therefore essential we substantially increase the contribution of fisheries and aquaculture in the region. By so doing, we will foster the eradication of poverty and hunger by increasing earnings from fish. This will also empower youth and women by supporting their engagement in fish production, processing, and trade. Ladies and gentlemen, I therefore conclude this speech as I wish to extend my appreciation to the management of West African Central African Council for Agricultural Research and Development, and Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria for organizing this training, which is no doubt will improve the skills of the participants in modern fish farming. At this juncture, I enjoin the participants to pay apt attention in the course of the training to benefit from the wealth and experience, knowledge of the resource person.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this important occasion. This program, which is coordinated by West and Central African Council for Agricultural Research and Development, CORAF, WICAT, with the aim of empowering youths in aquaculture, couldn't have come at a better time than now, when aquaculture is gaining global attention as one of the major sources of animal protein. Nigeria is a key player in global aquaculture, with representation at the highest fisheries policy-making body, and research institutes that have made their marks in aquaculture at regional and international levels. First, the choice of the nation to train 100 youths on agro-silvopastoral and halieutic value chains on the model of aquaculture is not by chance, but a well-deserved honor. I therefore urge the participants to use this opportunity to improve on their livelihoods and make positive contributions to the economies of the societies they live in at the end of the training. It is also of note that Nigeria produces about 1 million metric tons of fish, providing about 40% of total protein intake. Similarly, about 94 million hectares are used for fishery production. So you can see we have a very huge potential in this nation. And currently, programs are ongoing for dissemination of genetically improved farmed tilapia and improved catfish strains. Similarly, research on fish feed and health is given high priority. It is therefore anticipated that more people, particularly women and youths, will be engaged in aquaculture and fish value chain development in the nearest future. I appreciate your coming to Agri-Research Council of Nigeria and wish for a fruitful deliberation and program.
Also in attendance are Mrs. Ogechi Okebugu, the National Coordinator of Smallholders Women Farmers Organization of Nigeria Small Fawn, Mr. Mundu Hassan Muhammad, Chairman Kafran FCT Chapter, Mr. Isa Abdelkader, President, Fish Feed and Fisheries Association, Kado Market, Abuja. The HOD Fisheries and Agriculture Research Council of Nigeria, Dr. Charity Obeta, could not hide appreciation to all participants and stakeholders, both on site and online.
I want to thank you for this program. It's actually timely, looking at the fact that agriculture, is actually a mainstay for us here in Nigeria. We need to begin to look for how to expand, looking at the value chains, what can we do differently, and also make it attractive for the youth. I know before now, when you tell a youth that you should become a farmer, the person will never be interested. But going through this kind of value chains, it attracts us to want to do more, want to become interested, to understand what agric is all about, and also to help build food insecurity in the nation, as we know that is actually a huge problem that we are facing currently. For SWOFON, which is Smallholder Women Farmers Organization in Nigeria, it's an association that has to deal with smallholder women farmers and youth, that's young girls in the rural areas. We try to advocate for access to trainings, credits, farm inputs on how they can better improve their livelihood. So this is actually timely, and we appreciate the organizers, and I look forward to a fruitful outcome from this training.
But actually, we need to work very hard in this country, because since I'm now an old man, but since when I've been a kid, we've been passing these forests, the forest near Jos. Surprisingly, when you go around, you just find that the square meters of the forest has been the same for over 50 years. no expansion. It's just of recent that you see some of the some of people have started taking this, is it melena or tick? They've been planting them. Then of recent, I discovered that we have just 1 or 2 forest farmers. You know, agriculture involves planting trees, but we are not doing it. When you are flying on air in Nigeria, you see barren land because of our policies of still using firewood. Everybody uses firewood in the rural areas, and we don't replace them. If you go to some countries, advanced countries, you will not see the cities because the cities are embedded in forests. Every available space is planted with forests. That's why when you see forest fires in America, it lasts for years and days and this thing like that. So this is the type of policy. We are in the right place. And now they have expanded from this into agro-silviculture. You see, when they tell you that you need to be a fish farmer, it doesn't mean that you have to have a big farm. I know most of you are one-tank farmers. There's no lie about that. We discovered that most of our members are real small-scale farmers. I mean, they have farms behind their houses. But it does not mean that you cannot improve. We've been making researches on how to recirculatory systems, whereby you can have your farm behind your house, and then you use a system using, as long as you have little electricity, anytime you switch on your switch in the house, the light in the house, it recirculates the water and cleans the water, and you will not have issues with your neighbors. We are also working on the feed issue, which has been bothering the whole country. You know, things have gotten so high, things have gotten expensive. So, and the fish feed producers are helping matters. So the best thing you do is to produce your own feed. And I'm very happy that there's a program here for feed production. You don't need big machines. I used to have very big machines, elaborate line of this thing, but if I were to operate them, I have to compete with the big feed millers. So at the end of the day, my machines are now redundant. I've gone back to machines that are now using petrol engines, small machines, and they are producing the feeds for my farm. Anytime you come, you will see them there. It's not a hidden thing. I've left all the big machines, all the big generators, 100 kVA generator put aside. I'm using electric, what do you call this in now? 16 watts or 16, this in electric motor to run all my machines. So that is how it is. So it is not impossible. And for those of you who are doing catfish, you don't even need the machines. You compound your feeds as long as you don't, you go to the local people to mix them, especially the catfish feed. Just make sure you get the correct combination that is going to be taught to you here. Then you will be able to make your, listen, all this, we discovered that the rumors about floating feeds. Before the floating feeds, what were our fish eating? Is it not sinking feed? So now they came back with a floating fish. They said we must buy floating fish, we must buy machines. So just give your feeds what they can eat. Compound it and make sure that you get the criteria that is going to be given to you here, which is according to the Standards Organization of Nigeria's recommendation for feed milling.
We are from Kado Fish Market. I know in FCT, you can't do fish without Kado Fish Market. We are the marketer. And we deal on fish, the fish feed, all the fingerlings, most of the fingerlings you see in FCT is from Kado Fish Market. When you hash, anybody that hash fish in Kado, Alagri, is a very big key players in the fish industry. You know us, there's no any amount of fish that you hash in Abuja, you find them in Kado Fish Market. So I think on that note, when I resumed my office early last year, I tried to make sure that I stop fingerlings from other states, because most of the fish we collect from FCT before is from Ibadan, from Lagos, from Ijebu. But I discovered that most of those fish, when we supply them to our farmers, we discover that at the end of the day, you supply 1,000 pieces of fish. When the farmer wants to harvest, we discover that the fish they will harvest is no more than 500 to 300 pieces. So we discover that what is causing those things is the stress. So I call all the stakeholders in FCT, discuss with them that they should improve in their production of fingerlings and juveniles in FCT. And since COVID, there's an improvement in that fingerlings and juveniles in Abuja. I think from today, we don't collect any fish from Ibadan or from Lagos, from Kado Fish Market. All the fish we are selling now in Abuja, especially the fingerlings and juveniles, is from Abuja here. I want to the federal government to really assist the farmer, especially in FCT, because most of the farmer in FCT, we don't really have enough water. And most of the farmer in FCT, they do their farm inside their compound. And you know what it means. To dig borehole in Abuja is very expensive. And Alaji, thank God, Alaji have said it all. We don't really have fund to do this business in FCT. I want to appeal to the federal government if they can assist us. And if they can assist us with fund, my Oga said something concerning the loan. Most of us, we are in FCT, we don't have access to that loan. Even when you meet with the criteria, they give those loans to those our big men. They don't even have farm. You visit most of their farm they say they are using. My brother, it's not really what they tell federal government. I want to really appeal to the federal government. This loan is made for the real people. They are doing this business. If there's anything they can do to monitor this fund, they are giving the farmers. So let this fund get to the people that really need this money. And I want to appeal to the federal government. Most of the issue that our farmers they are having in FCT, not only FCT, the whole North Central. After you train your fish for 4 to 6 months, for you to sell your fish is a problem. But I discovered that the problem we are having is from the people that are bringing fish from the southwest. They are our problem. Why did I say so? Because those people have enough fish to sell. But because if you go to Kado Fish Market around 5 a.m. in the morning, we got a vehicle from Ibadan, more than 40 vehicles from Ibadan to Abuja here. And they will sell lesser than we are staying in Abuja. So for you to sell your own fish, it will be difficult for you. If those Ibadan they are selling for our distributor in Kado Fish Market at the rate of 1,250, in Abuja here, when you want to sell your own, they will be pricing it 1,300. And all of us know the cost of the feed now. The lowest feed, the local feed in the market is about 12,000 plus. There's no feed you can get less than 12,008 to 11,500 in the market.
This program actually became necessary because of the high number of youth in Africa. The population in sub-Saharan Africa is made up of over 60% youth. with this, we can see how critical youth are to the economy of Africa. It means that if you want to improve the economic development of Africa, we have to start working on our youth. That's improving the quality and value of our youth. And this is what prompted ECOWAS, Economic Development of Economic Community of West Africa, to come up with this initiative under Youth Employability Program. This is what they thought. They want to add value to our youth. And then when they came up with this, they said they want to develop African youth, to develop African economy. Even though some committee and organizations were suggesting developing the infrastructure and global trade, they were like, if you're developing the infrastructure and global trade without working on the youth, you're not doing anything. The first place to start from is the youth. That is why they came about this program. ECOWAS is collaborating. CORAF, Western Central African Council for Agricultural Research and Development, and Arcn, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, to train youth on this. So they approached Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria last year to train some youth on aquaculture. Nigeria was chosen. This program is on aquaculture because Nigeria was assessed and found to have strength, more power in aquaculture compared to other African countries. Other African countries are also doing the same training, but on other agricultural commodities. But Nigeria was choosing to train on aquaculture, and this is a regional training, meaning that it involves all African countries, and that is why we're hearing French, and we have representation from Mali. Mali, Alpha, can we see you? We have representation from Tijani, and then Ghana, our neighboring country, is well represented here. And they would have actually taken more of this, but because this is the first of its kind, we're still planning. So on that note, I would want to start by thanking the ECOWAS for this laudable initiative, and CORAF this program. I thank you so much, the Honorable Minister, for taking out your time and prioritizing our program and coming around to support the youth. We thank you very much. And then the Executive Secretary, without his guidance and directive and support, we would not be here. It's because of the commitment of Executive Secretary that here I want to say, sir, thank you. The Director, Federal Department of Fisheries, he has always been here for us. Anytime we call on him, he pushes everything he's doing aside and comes here to assist us. Thank you for identifying with us, recognizing the importance of training the youth. Thank you, Catfish Farmers Association, represented by Zamuindo Hassan. I just spoke with him. No, he was just happy. He said the kind of thing he wants, and then he will be here. And thank you for coming around to be with us. Thank you also, our big farmers, our big holder farmers, women. Thank you so much for being with us. And I pray, thank you, Kado Market's representative, for coming around. I know you closed your shop to come here and be with us. Thank you so much. I pray that this collaboration will not stop here. I pray that this collaboration goes beyond here. Let's continue to keep in touch, to continue to help, one another to grow in areas of aquaculture. I want to thank all the directors of Arcn and head of units for their presence and support. Thank you all for coming around and then trying to ensure that everything is well done here.
After the opening ceremony, the technical session began. Take a look.
The objective of aquaculture is majorly to produce rich protein, which has been overemphasized here too. We cannot afford to have enough cow meat or chicken. These are proteinous meats. But fish is very rich. The things fish contain, all these omega-3 and all that, you can't get them in meat, and they are very healthy. So it is important we produce this proteinous meat fish for human consumption, providing species for stocking natural waters as well, which we are not really doing in our country, because as the artisanals go to the waterfront to capture the fish, we're supposed to replenish the water body again by having already juveniles or fingerlings. We just pour it back so that they will go back and reproduce. The nettings that are used, and as the law has put it, many are not putting it into practice, that should use the good mesh size. You go for the size you are looking for and not to sweep the water body, which is being done. You now find out the big ones, the small ones, everything is being swept off from the water body. But when now we now capture and then have the species that we culture, you find out that we are using it to augment what we cannot get from the open water. That's species that are to be restored. We are now doing aquaculture to augment for that. Production of sport fish for recreation or sport fishing, like people who go for games, those, who can line. The sport fishing is interesting. It takes away hypertension. You forget your business you are doing. You are just concentrating and looking for who is catching bigger one, and it's fun. And the production of ornamental fish as you enter, those things you see, those beautiful colored fish, the ornamental fish. Just go there, spend 3 minutes. You will see the joy you will have in you. If you are hypertension fellow, you will find out that when you go check your pulse, it has come down. No more wahala, just that fish entertaining you free of charge. Provision of livelihoods. That's why we are here, to train people so that you will have something to do. After here, you will not go complaining you don't have what to do. Now employment, you in turn will employ people to assist you in your own private farms. And then this is a means of revenue generation through commercial aquaculture. That's when you produce it in a little bit, large or larger quantity, you sell it out and money will be there and you are feeding the nation. Maximum utilization of the land, the arable land, you will not just allow them to lie fallow, you make use of them and produce fish. Production of fish meal and production of new species through hybridization. And what we mean by hybridization is using another species to combine with another one. I will use the example of the one we know very well. Many of us know that we have what is referred to as heterobranchus and clarias. They are all looking black catfish. Some of us don't know the difference though. But one looks bigger and the other one looks tiny at the tail end.
Fish is highly perishable. We know that due to their physiological makeup. They are out of the water. You do not handle them properly. You do not store them accordingly. Deterioration will start, which will now be characterized by some factors. Physical, the one you can see, the chemical you cannot see. We'll get to that one later. Next. We've been talking about quality. All of us know quality. You say this is a quality product. Why? It means there is, or that there are certain indices that define quality. The one we are familiar with is the one we will see. You feel a cloth, this is high quality. But inherent Some things are embedded. Naturally, you should have those things in a product. For you to classify fish to be of quality, one, some things that are inherent that need to be present. If they are not there, it means it is what? Not a quality item or fish, as the case may be. And they are influenced by the physical, biochemical, microbial, and sensorial factors. Sensorial and physical, they are somehow related, but not totally. The biochemical, the microbial, you may not see them, but they will now manifest in the physical and the sensorial factor. Let's try and rejig our memory. The first thing that you will notice if you go to a poultry farm, what will you perceive that will now give you an indication you are in a poultry farm? The smell. How does it smell like? There is a characteristic what? Smell. Beyond that, there is a problem. Can we say the same for a fish pond? The moment you get to a fish pond, the odor that will emanate from a fish pond, is it the same thing as the one you observe in a poultry? So, that is characteristic of each. The moment you do not have a particular odor for fish that is harvested, it means there is a what? Problem. So those are the things we'll get into as we, again, before you talk of size, we always misconstrue size to be quality. No. The fish is not too active. It means there is a problem. It's big. It means the quality is being hampered slowly. You do not perceive the actual metallic odor. There is a problem. Let's go. So, this is just a pictorial representation of what we've talked about. Then, intrinsic factors, fish quality. These are inherent. You cannot change it. I was jokingly referring to my senior colleague that because I wasn't tall, so he didn't see me. That is inherent. I won't be taller than this. It's a fact. You tell me I'm short, I will never take offense. But by the time you are telling me those short people, this is how they behave, then I will make trouble. Don't laugh now. So that is an inherent thing. People that were born under a particular star, no matter where they are, they have that inherent quality. It's the same thing. The size, the species, the pH affect the quality of fish. Fish that are lean, pelagic, they would not have lipid deterioration because they don't have much fat. That is inherent. Again, they cannot be controlled. The factors, they are inherent. It's not left for you to work with it by manipulating the situation you find yourself.
Have your fresh fish. The post-learning aspect, you need to sort. You say there are some people that sell eggs. Some of them, they don't have good business idea. By the time your birds lay and you collect all the eggs, you just sell like that. You are not a good businessman or businesswoman. The best thing is what? You sort the big one, the small one, you put them aside. They go for different prices. There are some big eggs that if you have just two of the egg, it's more than 3 of another egg. So you'll be able to put your price. So you sort these are the big ones, so that because someone that wants to buy from you will never pick the one that is big when it's justify the cost. If this is a fish, this is another one. What we tell you is that, is this not part of it? So let me pay this amount. But if you have done your own job well, you separate the bigger size than the smaller size. You can say, okay, the smaller size for this price, but for this one, if you are not paying 2,000 naira per kg, I'm not selling. He knows the what, and is ready to pay for it. So you do that one. Then you do proper cleaning. Immediately after cash, you know that
your fish is what? Subjected to deterioration, and that is why we under chilling condition. You can use ice to do this. Then we have box. This is the traditional method of the way the people they used to keep fish in the olden days. The first one, they either keep it in a basket, in a carton wrap with cloths, but within few hours you discover that the quality of the fish is almost gone. But this is an improved way of doing it. We show the picture of the ice fish box developed by Nispray. Next. You can see when we are at the research stage, this is the first attempt. Later it was improved to this, and now it is commercialized. You can find this one in the market. It has a wheel, it has a provision for draining of the melted ice, and your fish can maintain up to 48 hours without losing any quality indices that you were informed in the last lecture. The fish processing. When you have your fish, you add value to it, you plan to get another product. And the product you are getting, maybe in terms of the taste, in terms of the value, because you have already added value to it. Take for instance, either dry or smoked fish. By the time you carry out that one, what you are getting is not what? Fresh fish. There are some people that cannot take fresh fish, but when it comes to dry or smoked fish, you don't joke with them because they do what? They like the taste. On the way we attract more money. And it makes it more stable during the storage because you have the essence. Now, processing fish, we have the traditional method, and we also have the improved method. One of the traditional methods is applying salt. They use it in the olden days. You apply salt, maybe coupled with drying to make sure you remove the moisture content to a safer level. The drying itself, using the solar energy, they can put it outside and expose it to sun energy. Another one is the smoking. They smoke a lot. But by the time they are done with the smoking, you discover that product turns into what? A black material that the Yoruba people call ejadudu. And originally the fish was not black, but it was as a result of the processing techniques that was used that turned the fish into the black fish. So using the improvement, you talk of the heating, this could be cooking, canning, your sardine, your geisha, and the likes. That is the way they prepare them. And you place as well. You keep them, you make sure you refrigerate them under lower temperature, and this can as well maintain the quality of the fish. Then controlling the water activity of the fish. You are thinking of the drying, you are thinking of chemical or combination of both, just to make sure that you make it what? You make it more stable by adding value. Next. Now, fish smoking. You know, to remove moisture from fish, definitely you require some level of heat, and which involves drying. And when you are carrying out drying, two activities are involved. You call it heat transfer and mass transfer. The heat will be transferred from the source. The source of the heat could be anything. It could be solar, it could be through the solar, it could be from electrical source, it could be from your charcoal, your gas, and the likes. Or at least heat must be what? Must be introduced. So it is that heat that will move from the source into the product. By doing that, the heat will remove the moisture that you have in the fish and take it outside the drying chamber. And by the time this continues to happen, over a certain period of time, you discover that the quality that the product that you have is not the same quality, quality that you started with when you were processing the fish. And there are traditional and improved method of doing this. Yes. Now, we have the traditional fish smoking cane. You know, it is not today that fish smoking starts. This has been in the ages. We have the one that is referred to as the rectangular mud oven, that you just have a rectangular shape mud. Then they put arrangement of bars, they put the fire under, then they put the fish, cover it with something, then they apply serious heat, a lot of smoke. By the time it's done, that is that the fish will not be black. Another type, they call it cylindrical metal oven, and The last one there, we had the rectangular or square metal oven. Why the improved one? We had the one that we refer to as a multi-purpose smoking kiln. This one was developed by NIFRI. Another one by Neoma in conjunction with WAP. The same thing, NIFRI also has a smoking kiln that was also developed in conjunction with a WAP program.
The sperm of the male, in fish you call it male. The female has egg. So when the milk of the male fertilizes the egg of the female, you have the larvae. Now, that window in the egg of the female is only open for 60 seconds. And in 60 seconds, if the milk does not fertilize the egg, it's gone. When that hormone is released in female fish, they shed their eggs. But because we want to hasten the process, we want to make the process faster, we now inject the female with this hormone, and the female fish will release its eggs for us. But the eggs will not rush. We'll have to help her to get the eggs out. There are various materials you must use in fish seed production. I think they're displayed there. You must have good water. You must have a mature male and a mature female. In knowing a mature male fish, you will see that the male fish must be over a year old. It must weigh over a kg for male fish. But for the females must weigh over 1 kg. The females will have a protruded belly, like a pregnant woman's belly. And to confirm if that fish is very gravid, that is, it's good for what you want to do. Once you hold the head of the fish and turn it over and touch the stomach, the eggs start popping out from the genital opening. You see the eggs coming out. Bam, bam. If the eggs are coming out one, singly, then that fish is okay. But if the eggs come out as if it's all mashed up, that female is not good. Now, if you take any female catfish, sometimes you see brownish eggs and sometimes you see greenish eggs. There's a history behind the greenish eggs. Most of our local catfish, they carry those brown eggs. Most of the genetically modified catfish that was brought into this country, most of them carry those green eggs. Now, again, the female and the male, if you look at the fin, you know what is the fin, Abi? The fin, the tail. You know, every human being is a fish too. We have the same eyes, we have nose, we have mouth, fish here. They have the pectoral fin, and their leg fins are fused into a tail. So there's almost no difference because we do the same thing. They are same, but they do almost the same work, because when the fish wags its tail, it helps in movement, just the way our legs do. So by the tip of the fin, you will see a reddish mark on the tail and on the genital opening and the papilla of the male. They will all be reddish. That is for a good brood stock. Then you must have a substrate, which is this. This is a normal mosquito net. It's not the Boko Haram mosquito net that doesn't allow mosquito to enter the house. You have to use this one. You know why? Each of these holes represent the same hole you have on a graph sheet. You know graph sheet in mathematics. And that's why you need the female fish to weigh above 1 kg. Because when the female fish is above 1 kg, the eggs are bigger in diameter. And so they can sit on these holes. But if you use a female fish of 800 grams, 900 grams, it will do the same thing for you. But the danger is that the diameter of the egg is not big enough to sit on this hole. Once you pour the eggs on this substrate, the egg falls to the bottom of your basin. And that is where your problem starts. Because if those eggs are not fertilized and they start to decay, there's a bacteria called saprolegna. That is the first thing that will start attacking your fry once they hatch. So you must have this. You also must have a dissecting set, but me, I like using razor blades. And that's what we use in cutting open the belly of the male to bring out the testes. This kind of situation. But we can still get some milk. They're supposed to be. Sometimes you have just. On either side of the fish, you will find the test. So now, this is the second one. So we are done with this one. In those days, we used to use one male fish, put this one inside this thing, and bring it forward. In those days, we used to use one male to two females, and that gives you the things you might encounter. We used to use one male to two females, but these days, you should always keep another male standby. In case you open the first one and you don't see much, then you take the second one and you augment. So you take this one. This is another name. It's here. I believe we are going to get a better result from this because you see the reddish nature of the skin. This way, I have to hold this strong. Hold it strong. I'm going to show you. So this one comes from the second fish, which is actually good because you can see the taste is very creamy. This one comes from the other friend of mine. You can see that the taste is not too, but it still has some. So most of the times, if you're doing anything, you will find out that you can encounter this situation. So I'm going to cut it open. Thank you. Don't worry, after we do the rest. Come and help me pour. Try to wash my hands because if there's any blood remaining on these testes, and as we are cutting it open, the blood falls into the container, and we use that blood to incubate the eggs. You know what happens? Blood is a very rich medium for the growth of bacteria. I hope I'm correct. That's why it's good to get your facts. You know, they for say, that man, they talk rubbish. You understand? Blood, and once there's blood there, the bacteria multiplies faster than normal. So
you see the amount of slime because they've struggled over time and eventually they give up. So if I'm not ready for processing immediately, you harvest. Find a way to keep them happy a bit. Is that clear? Yes. So we'll need to do this as fast as we can. At the same time, we'll get grasp of what we didn't actually talk about there. We need to divide ourselves into maybe 2 or 3. As we are cutting this, we need to wash. Then after that, it will now be an hands-on practical. My colleague will now take you through. You can see we started this. HACCP again. You don't want to have a bad product. You need to take away all the what? Entrails. Is that clear?
Yes.
So, I will assume we are all ready for work. Let's find a way to get water and clean this thing thoroughly. Most of the fish you see that are very black, there is a high possibility that they contain unusually large quantity of polyaromatic hydrocarbon. I'll break it down. Polyaromatic hydrocarbon. Whenever you are smoking anything, you are grilling, you are frying, it will produce polyaromatic hydrocarbon. Don't bother about the poly. Don't bother about the aromatic. Don't bother about the hydrocarbon. Just know it's a bad thing. You are having 1 billion. You now divide it, divide until there is nothing left. You now take 1 part. You can imagine how small it is. 2.5 parts per billion. When your polyaromatic hydrocarbon reach that level, in suya, in smoked fish, in fried fish, in shrimp, anything that is smoked, bush meat, it will now lead to what? Toxic level. It will now lead to contamination. Consumption over time, it keep on accumulating, will now give one cancer.
So the other time we said you either kill using your knife, but if you have a very large quantity, what you do is that you kill in mass. And what do? You use salt. So we use salt to kill this to save time. We have to kill it so that by the time you come, at the same time you'll be able to do more work.
So when you want to do this, you should be ready to cover it. You know, even human being cannot withstand salt. So pour the quantity and cover almost immediately.
So we have to bring out all the eggs before we start. You need to see that they are struggling.
The egg is just a byproduct. That is not exactly what you have.
Can you see that the sand is going down? Meaning that they are getting tired.
Animal people, animal rights. I know they do.
Right, Muslim. And you see?
So once you kill,
you now handle them without fighting. that's one of the facilities that you can use to maintain the quality of fish.
They are meant to be washed and you degot.
Is this. We call it ice fish box. And this was developed by Nigerian Stock Product Research Institute. It looks like your normal cooler, but a lot of features that it contains that your normal cooler doesn't. Now, as the ice melts, it definitely turns into water. So if the water is not removed from the facility, the fish will take the water and it will become swelling. So that is why you have this facility. So over a period of time, you open it and you allow the water drain out. They will also protest too. You know, the condition is now different from what they are used to in their normal life. So they need to protect. And I know that some people may ask that would they still be alive? No, they will not be alive. That condition is enough for them to die. But their quality will still be maintained for the next 48 hours. So you close it, then you close the drain point, then you can wheel like you're traveling back to wherever you want to wheel. And if you have more than one, you can as well stack on this. So you can use it as a retail facility for sales of fresh fish, or use it to convey from the point of cash, which is your farm, to where you will process them. This is where you arrange the fish. After the necessary preparation, then you load into the drying chamber like this. Then you put the fire, the charcoal. After you have charged it, you put it at the back, you push the ash tray under it, so that when the charcoal is burning, the ash from the charcoal can easily drop in the ash collection tray. Then here we have another mechanism. This one we call it oil collection tray. So as the fish is drying, both the water and the oil in the fish will drop. In some designs that leads to bad quality fish products, they usually put the source of energy under the drying trays. So, and as the drying continues, as the water and the oil drops, it drops on the charcoal. It brings smoke, and even at times it brings fire. That if care is not taken, I will even burn the whole fish. But in this particular design, you can see instead of having the source of energy directly under it, we have it recessed at the back. You have the oil collector tray, because this particular tray will be very hot because of its closeness to the fire. So as the oil and water drops on it, the water dries off, while the oil flows down to that end, and you can easily collect it here. You can just put one container here. You can put one container, just stay there. You can put one container here and collect the oil. So, and another important feature about this smoking can is that you can see that I'm moving it without any stress.
With that, we come to the end of the special report on agro, silver, pastoral and haleutic value chains on the model of aquaculture, organized by the Economic Community of West African States and West and Central African Council for Agricultural Research and Development, CORAF-WICAD, in collaboration with Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. With that, we come to the end of the special report. My name is Joshua Ishaya, thanking you for staying tuned. Bye for now.